So there goes the train, a regional train. I didn't know you could actually drive, get to the Medoc with this train. I always rent cars. And here's the Margaux station, Chateau Margaux. Well, not Chateau Margaux, but the Margaux train station to get to the southern Medoc. So I'm here at Chateau Brane Cantenac, a very wonderful second growth in Margaux. It's the 26th of September. It's the second to last day of the harvest. And you'll see in the upcoming shots Henri Lurton, the owner, showing me the actual arrival of the harvest, where you use the optical machines, where they were really needed this year to differentiate the grapes that were ripe and made perfectly for the first wine and the grapes you had to get rid of. 2011, as you will see, was not a very simple vintage. I'm just walking around. I walked a few kilometers to Chateau Margaux and I got really hot. There's a spread of botrytis because of the humidity that's been settling in here in September. But back in July, it was the coldest month in 30 years. So you had a lot of varied temperature. So it really was a lot of work, and depending on which parcel you were picking, even bunches of grapes. Within the bunches, there were some that were not ripe, others were ripe. So it was a real vintner's vintage, 2011, as you will see. So here we go. So we're here at Brane Cantenac, where people are waiting for almost the last grapes to arrive. It's the 26th of September, Monday. Going into the cellars here. It's Henri Lurton, who's the owner of Brane Cantenac, and we're looking at some free-run juice. Is that it?
Yes. We are pumping over our first vat of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Wow.
So the first one, and you can see a very, very good color. We expect good quality for Cabernet Sauvignon and also for the other varieties in 2011.
I'm here with Henri Lurton on the famous plateau of Brane Cantenac, which is about 30 hectares. And 2011 was a vintner's vintage, wasn't it, Henri? I mean, you had to work in the vineyard because the weather changed so much, didn't it?
Yes.
What were the challenges? I mean, what did you have to do?
In fact, depending on the parcel, the vine suffered sometimes more of the dryness first and of the heat in June. So we had to adapt our work to the climate, so sometimes de-leafing, sometimes not, sometimes green harvest, quite a lot of green harvest for young vines that suffer from dryness, for others not too much because the crop was not very big, and at the end de-leafing because it was more humid and more cool. So to avoid the botrytis, we had to first we had to protect, in fact, the grapes. But at the end, we had to protect from botrytis. So we had to keep the air going, and so we had to keep out the leaves. So
right.
The work in the vineyard is really, because the climate is every year different, is really adaptation.
And what's really important is the aromatic complexity that you always get with Brane Cantenac, or at least that's your hallmark, isn't it? The wonderful aromatics at Brane, and this whole notion of getting phenolic maturity, which everyone talks about, getting absolute phenolic maturity. It was maybe more difficult this year. I mean, you wanted to preserve, in order to harvest quickly, but you wanted to preserve the aromatics. You didn't have necessarily any ideal phenolic maturity, but you preserve the aromatic complexity. That was the challenge this year, I guess.
I think it's very often the challenge because of the aromatic qualities very well known from Brane since centuries. So we need to not to go to over ripeness.
Okay.
This year we didn't really because of the risk of botrytis that was there because of the humidity and the rain and heat in September. So when the grape just achieves the ripeness, it was we had really to pick very quickly.
So we're going to go see the optical sorting machine, which was really needed in 2011. Et qu'est-ce qu'on voit là?
Ça, c'est des photos en fait de certains moments et qui permettent d'adapter le tri. Hein. Donc ça c'est parce qu'en fait ça travaille au reflet.
This is what's been rejected, yeah?
C'est surtout des baies. Il n'y a pas ici sur les Cabernet Sauvignon, on n'a pas beaucoup de baies roses. Mais c'est surtout des baies un peu abîmées qu'on peut pas enlever parce que on enlève, s'il y a du botrytis, on peut enlever des morceaux de grappe, mais ça peut difficilement, ces morceaux de peau et tout, ça peut difficilement être enlevé.
C'est quoi le botrytis ça, non?
C'est des peaux qui ont été un peu abîmées par le botrytis. Hein. Donc, malgré le tri, ça reste.
Okay. Raison comme ça?
Surtout sur les merlots, on pouvait avoir un raisin qui était rose, alors que le reste est mûr.
Donc là, il y a un petit raisin rose, ouais, voilà.
Voilà, il a stoppé sa maturité, il y a longtemps, comme surtout. Voilà.
C'est à cause de fin de mois de juin, c'est ça?
C'est au mois de juin, voilà, et donc par contre, le reste est très mûr. Hein.
C'est bon ça?
Voilà. Et ça, c'est une troisième grappe, c'est pas le meilleur.
And then there's also the notion of selection this year. I mean, you use these optic machines, right? Were they more important?
It's been very, very important.
Why is that?
Because for some bunches, you had some berries that were still pink inside a bunch where maybe 90% was really ripe. So because of the sun, because of the heat, and it affected just some berries in the grapes. Sometimes it affected the parcel and really the shoot and all the bunches of one vine. But sometimes it just affected some berries in the bunch, and it's so the fact that we have been able to select by the optical sorting table. It's incredible. So it has been a help that we don't often need, in fact.